All right, all right. We are here, guys. Welcome all to the broadcast. Today, we're doing a pretty insane broadcast that I've never done. I'm gonna be revealing insane stuff. But first, let me check that everything's good. Hey, we're doing a perfect, all good. Let me see if audio is good and everything. Just let me know. But today, we're gonna be going ahead and review insane stuff. So let's wait a second until some more people join. I'm very excited. We are actually quite a couple people already in Zoom, and also a couple people in YouTube. So let's get it. Let's get it. So today I'm gonna be going and revealing some really cool stuff. So let me go ahead and share the screen. Just prepare everything. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Share the screen. I'm gonna share this over here. I'm gonna put myself inside. There we go, and then perfect. Okay, so let me know if you guys can see my screen. Okay, let me know. Okay, in YouTube I know that it is working, but let's let me know if it's also working on Zoom. Okay, I just opened the chat in Zoom. Yes, okay. Let's go. You guys can see. Perfect. Let me also open this window. Okay. Let's go. So, let's wait 5 more seconds and let's get started. Okay. So here we go. How to go from idea to prototype. This is the actual playbook. This is what enabled me to go ahead and create projects in literally a morning or a little bit of an evening. And the cool thing about this is that you can apply it to any case that you want. It doesn't matter if you're going ahead and building a horror game, if you're building a survival game, you can apply this for 99% of the genres or type of games that you will make. So with that said, let's get started. Okay, so what is the first step to actually go and make a game? Of course, ideation. Going ahead and thinking everything about your game. This is very important because it's the foundation of the whole development. If you can manage to create a good ideation, then the development will be so easy because you can just simply execute, okay? So, this needs to happen before you start development. It will simply let you know exactly what you will need throughout the entire development. And it's exactly what I said. The ideation process is basically just coming up with the game idea, the audience, the market, the tools, the plugins, everything that you will need to make your game. And once you have actually figured out how to, create a mapping of everything that you will need, it will be easy. Now also there's like a drawing here in my Zoom. I don't know if I don't know if I can delete this. Let me check. Okay, cool. Guys, don't draw, okay? Please. All right, perfect. We're good. So continuing with this. How do you actually come up with a good idea, right? How do you actually figure out the ideation and successfully plan everything out that you will need to make your game? Well, the first thing is the most obvious stuff, right? What would your game be about? Define the genre. All these stores that you'll be selling on. So it's gonna be a horror game, survival game. What is gonna be these stores that are gonna be selling on? So is it a Steam game for PC? This changes a lot the development kit when making games in Unreal Engine. It's gonna be for Epic Games, the pricing, all this stuff. Mechanics super important. What type of mechanics is gonna have? The game is gonna be open world. It's gonna be level type. All this stuff, guys, you have to plan it from the start. You don't have to exactly go ahead and write 100% of everything on paper, but a good percentage to get started. And also, this is key here, streamers that can play it. Now, we will get a bit more in depth in the streamer world in a second, but Streamers are the ones that will basically market your game, so this is very important. So you will also need to go ahead and figure out what streamers could potentially play your game based on, you know, the genres that they like and all this stuff, okay? So, next thing that I always like to do is come up with an image in my mind about the game. And this image is literally just imagine that you are playing the game and it's like a screenshot. So everything about it, the art style, the POV, if it's first person, third person, the setting, right? All this stuff. And the best tool to make a reference image, and it's super cool that I use all the time, it's just AI. And with AI, you can go ahead and type exactly what you want and it will create an AI image which will serve as a perfect initial reference point. And a lot of people are not good drawing, all right? A lot of people are not artists and a lot of people don't have the budget to hire a designer. So AI comes in very handy in this case when planification comes in. A couple tools that are good is like ChatGPT, Midjourney, the Google things, I don't know, everything, right? So super handy. And you will see a case where I use it for my game in a second. Then also imagine how the trailer could potentially look. So we just thought on an image, which is a single frame, but imagine if you could look into like a moving sequence of images, like a gameplay loop, right? If you think about the trailer, you will also know how to market your game. You would know how it would look in the Steam page, and all this stuff like don't have to be exactly like, you know, drawn in the floor, but it could just be in your head. It also depends if you are more of a visual person or more of a number person. I'm very visual, so I can imagine all this stuff. But if not, we have these tools that can help you, or just hire a designer or draw it yourself. All this stuff, right? Next thing, like we said, what streamers will play this and promote this? Now in 2025, streamers are the ultimate tool to promote your games. Because if you go ahead and make sure that the game that you're making is a game that a streamer would play, they would play it for free. You will not be, needing to pay them an amount for a sponsorship, promotion, all this stuff. Because if your game matches what their audience wants and what they want to stream, they will go ahead and simply stream it because it's content for them. And if you just give them a key in the game for free, that will be even better, right? And you will see in a second an example of this, or a bit later too. And then last but not least, create a Notion and Miro board. Now, what is this? Well, there are basically two softwares or two apps, how you want to call it, that are essential, okay? And you probably already know about Notion or Miro, but they're really, really cool. So the thing with Notion or Miro is that, you guys cannot hear me? Let me just double check. You guys, everything is perfect. Oh, and also, I was using my other microphone. Now it should be a bit better. Anyway, let me know if you guys can hear me and now better. I think the mic now is better. Anyway, going back into this. So these two apps are essential to go ahead and planificate everything. So with Notion, you can basically create tables and assign all the tasks that you have to complete for the game. Imagine making the main menu, that's a task. Making the health system, that's another task. You can set up deadlines, you can set up tags for what category this will be in, and then you can also go ahead and put a specific persons or people that this task will be assigned to. Also guys, in the Zoom, if you cannot hear me, check your output settings, okay? Make sure that your output setting is the speaker that you're using or the headphone or whatever it is on the Zoom settings. Okay, then Miro is a thing that is a bit more niche, so not a lot of people know, but it's essential too. And it's basically a Notion, but imagine as an infinite whiteboard. So you can basically put also tasks or images, sticky notes, and it's way more visual and cooler. You can also use it as for teamwork, so you will see like cursors, like almost if it was a multiplayer game. It's pretty cool. As you can see, I used it for my latest game, which is a football game that you will see in a second. I will talk about it because it's my latest release and you will see all about it. So you can see some example here of my game that I just talked about, which is from concept to actual game. these two are AI images, right? And I came up with this before I even created the Unreal project. I already knew exactly what I wanted, so I just described this into the AI and it generated two images, right? As you can see, a green path, the guy with the ball, it's on top of the sky, and the game, just to summarize it, it's basically like a rage game. It's like only up but with football, so you have to dribble a ball through a floating path and obstacles and not make it like fall, okay? So I generated these two concepts, and as you can see on the right, this is my actual game. This is what I actually made it into reality. And as you can see, the concept art really came in handy because you can see the green path, you can see the clouds, you can see the buildings. Everything was from an image reference into the real game. And when it was time to execute, it was 10 times easier and faster because that's it. I just went ahead and replicate it. I already had like a concept that I can take. So this is why you have to create concept art. Very important, okay? And some people are asking for some AI generators. You know, just make sure that you go ahead and find them online. There's ChatGPT, Midjourney, Google VO3, things like that, guys. It's out there. Okay, so you have everything, right? You have everything written down in Notion, in Miro. You have all the mechanics that you're gonna have. Where are you gonna sell this in Steam or whatever? If it's just for fun, you know, the genre that it is, the streamers that can play, everything. So what do you do now? You have the ideation phase completed. Well, these next steps are fundamental. You simply start the development. So you go ahead, create an Unreal project, and set up a repository. Now, as you can see, I have highlighted repository with a lot of arrows, and it's in bold. So yeah, repositories are fundamental when creating an actual game. And let me tell you what is a repository. So a repository is basically having your project saved on the cloud. It's basically having it saved as a backup in a server. This will allow you to have multiple versions that you can just back up into. So imagine that one day you worked on the main menu, you upload that as a version. Then the next day you work on the health system, you put another version, and you with time stack up the versions. And that way, if you mess up, you can simply revert back to a backup. Now, when working with a team, this is super good because each member can upload their work and the others can just download the updates. And that way everyone can be in sync and you don't need to go ahead and zip the project and send it through Dropbox or Google Drive. That's messed up. That's what beginners do. What you have to do is set up a repository. And you can do this through GitHub or anything. It's super easy, as you can do over here. So why do we actually need it? Well, like I just mentioned, it will save you hours, maybe days, maybe weeks, maybe months, depending if you really mess up. Because you know it's essential to always have backups of your project. Even if you're not in a team, still solo is super essential. It also creates a sense of progress and it motivates you, apart from seeing the progress in Miro and in Notion, like we just mentioned. When you see the progress on all the comments that you do, all the versions that you upload, it's also like, hey, I'm advancing in the game. And then it will simply save you time when crashes occur and you lose files, because I've seen a lot of people that have, you know, lost the whole project after spending like months into it because they haven't set up a repository. So you search up online how to set up an online repository. I even have a tutorial. It's super easy. It will take like 10 minutes. Okay, so now what? We have all the ideas in the table through Notion and Miro. We have an online repository set up for our Unreal project, which is probably still blank because we haven't started. So what do we do next? Well, that's the thing. We know what we are doing next because everything is written down. We have pretty much at least 30% of our game written down on paper, so we know what to do next. We just need to execute inside Unreal Engine. That's when you actually put on the turbo and you start to go faster. So this brings us into our next section, accelerating your workflow inside Unreal Engine. And there's a couple of ways that we can do this. First things first, guys, you know, I don't know how many times I've gone into one of you guys' projects and all the folders are messed up. You have literally UIs in the blueprints folder, or like guys, you have to organize your prep folders, basically the content browser, from the start. And the thing is that if you do it from the start, there's no way to mess up, because literally from the beginning, everything that you create is where it has to be. So as you can see, you just have to make sure that you create subcategories, subfolders, put everything in place. We'll jump into Unreal Engine in a second and we will see everything live, so don't worry about it, but this is very important. Another thing that not a lot of people know, but also some people know, is actor components. And these actor components enable you to create modular code that you can reuse. So this is very important, because a lot of people that I see online go ahead and create systems and recreate them 20 times by doing just copy and paste on the keyboard and doing crazy stuff. What you can do is build the code once and reuse it whenever you need it. And that's available through an actor component. So an actor component is just a blueprint class that you can just add as a component into any blueprint out there. So imagine you created a health system. Instead of creating the health system for your character, for your player, for your enemy AI, for this and that, you can just do it once in an actual component and add it as a component into all of those characters, and it will just work. That's why it is essential to do this. But of course, you need to know when to use actual components, so we will see this in a second too inside of Unreal Engine. Macros are actually very niche. You will see actually I don't use them in a lot of tutorials because they're a bit more advanced, but they're very cool because you can create snippets of code. It's similar to actor components, but actor components like for a whole system. Macros are just for one single thing. Imagine a calculation, right? Instead of writing that calculation 20 times, you can just do it once in a macro and then call the macro whenever you need it in any blueprint. And it's just like a node. It's very handy. Another way, interfaces. A lot of people know interfaces, but this is very important because it will enable you to call functions, events, and all that stuff in any class. So if you wanted to communicate with another actor, and this actor was another class, you will need to cast into that, memory reference into that class, call that thing there, and it takes a while. And not only it takes more time, but it also consumes more resources. So this is why it is very important. You just have to go ahead and create interfaces. We will see how they work in a second, also inside of Unreal Engine. And last but not least, use always the same approach. And this will work for 99% of all game genres in all cases. Well, what do I mean with use always the same approach? Like what I'm even talking about? Well, what I mean with this is that you can follow a workflow and a step-by-step pattern that you can repeat every time. And this is what I have done to be able to do full prototypes in just one morning or a little bit of an evening. Because you can just follow what you already know. I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of person you are and in what ways you do. I'm gonna share my way to do so and how I get things done in literally an hour and a half, things like that. So let's jump into Unreal Engine and let's get a bit more practical and show you guys all the things that you can do. So give me a second. Let me stop sharing the screen and let's jump into the next screen. So just give me a second. Okay, this here. And I'm gonna create a new Unreal project. So how are you guys liking the broadcast? Let me know. There's still a lot of things to be revealed today. So let me create a project for you guys. And I'm trying to read both the YouTube and Zoom chat, but mainly the one that I'm gonna be reading today is gonna be the Zoom one. So if you haven't already joined the Zoom, the link is on Discord and on the YouTube chat a bit up. So check it out. But yeah. Very good, nice. Let's go. Perfect. Okay, so give me guys 1 second. I'm gonna create third person project. Just gonna call it live. Open. Okay, perfect. It's like a game design class I took at Full Sail, minus the price for the class. Perfect, glad to know this. Okay. So, here we are. Let me make this, guys, a bit bigger for you. I need to also share the screen. That's very important. Okay, Unreal Editor. Let me put myself in the corner. Okay. Also, let me know if it lags too much. Hopefully, it is smooth and doesn't lag. Let me see the live stream. Okay, I see that it's kind of lagging. Yeah, it's kind of lagging. But don't worry, because I'm not gonna be moving so much like in the 3D viewport. But I'll be centering more into like the content browser and all this stuff. Okay. So first things first, like I mentioned, one of the first things that you have to figure out is your content browser overlay. This is how you organize the all the project. Okay. So this window is fundamental. This is one of the first things I had to figure out. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. Each developer has their own method of organizing the project from the start. What I like to do is the following. I have 2 ways that I usually do this for. So the first thing is just to create a main folder for example, all your blueprints. So here in the content folder, you have a blueprint folder, and you would just go ahead and create subcategories. So for example, you would go here and create a thing for your requests, request system, right? This will be inside the blueprints. Then it will be, for example, the health system, and this is like subcategories for all the blueprints inside the main blueprint folder. But one thing that I actually do it a bit more, and I recommend you guys to do, is instead of having a main blueprints folder and subcategories inside, what I recommend to do instead is to go ahead and create a folder for the categories outside. So this will be, for example, quest system, right? I spell it wrong, but it doesn't matter. So once you have your quest system folder, in here you create subcategories for the blueprints, then UI for the user interface, for sounds and data tables, and all this stuff. That way, when you're designing systems, it's a bit easier, because you can just find the quest system, and then you have all the blueprints for that quest system. You have the sounds for that quest system. You have the user interface and UI for that quest system, and it's a bit more straightforward to work with systems. Plus, a great advantage of this is that you can just go to the quest system folder, right click, and migrate. And with this, you can just export the quest system to any project that you want, which is so good, because you can reuse your quest system that you made for a game into your next game just by clicking a button, because everything is in one folder. But anyways, if you do it the other way of blueprints and then subcategories, if you do migrate, it's also very handy, because Unreal Engine automatically knows what it needs. So it will find out if the UI is in another folder and also import it. So that's very good. But yeah, and guys, again, if you don't hear anything through Zoom, make sure that your output settings are the ones of your speakers, because otherwise you cannot hear anything. Okay, cool. So yeah, always make sure that you have your folders from the start then. Okay, next thing, actor components. As I mentioned, this is fundamental. A lot of people know how to use them, but not properly, and a lot of people don't know even what they are. So like I just mentioned, actor components is just a way that you can create modular code and reuse code, because you create a system once and you add that actor component into all of the things that you want. So you would go here, blueprint class, and then actor component. Right here it is. As you can see, Unreal Engine, it even tells you it's a reusable component that can be added to any actor, and that's exactly what we want. So you would go to here and imagine that we were creating a health system. Okay, very simple. BPC, or blueprint component, that's why there's a C, underscore health, right? I can open this up, and as you can see, it's a regular blueprint as any blueprint out there in the world. We have our event graph and our graphs, our functions, our macros, variables, details panel, everything. But the only thing that we don't have is a viewport. Why? Because this component is only code. We don't have a visual 3D model of something, right? Because we don't need it. We will do that on the actor that we add into it. So imagine you create here your function to add health, right? And you go here, you add your input, health to add, right? Imagine you get this, you create a health variable, that's your current health. And okay, Bob, why are you drawing on my screen, please? Bob, come on, man. He's drawing on my screen. Okay, Bob, please. All right, so now we can just like go and update this variable. So it could be like set health. And we can now just go ahead and get our current health and add it with the incoming one, right? So imagine you have your function of health and everything, right? And this is a full-edged health system that works, right? Now, I could go right now and open up my player blueprint. And what I can do with the actual component is just go here and search for health and add it. And that's it. Now, my player character has the health system implemented just like that. And I can also go to the event graph and call it. So I could go to the component and do add health. I can literally reference the component that we just added and call the function to add, 50 of health or whatever that is. And that's it. It simply goes ahead and works, which is super cool. So that's how you can use actual components. And obviously I just explained 1% of it, or more than explained, like use an example of 1% of what it can do. But it's really amazing because, you can go ahead and do this for whatever. It doesn't matter if it's health system, if it's whatever it is. And I can literally just go to any other blueprint. I could have, for example, another character, and this will be like enemy, right? And imagine that you had an enemy here, right? This was my enemy. I could go also and just add the health into the guy, and it will work. And as you can see, we are just doing the health in one place, which is the health actor component, and not in the third person graph, and then copying that into the enemy graph. Guys, this is fundamental. This is how you can really speed up your things. And then, like I mentioned, once you have built one health system, you can just go in the content browser, right click, go to asset actions, and migrate, aka export this health system that you have built into your new game if you're working on another project, and you can just reuse it. And because it's in one place, that's it. You don't have to worry about if there's things built inside the player or the enemy, because it's in one place. Let's go. So next thing. Let's go right now and look into interfaces. So interfaces are also one thing that are super essential that you have to be using because it's really amazing. So to build an interface, you can just go to the blueprint section. Do not go to a blueprint class because it is not a blueprint class, but go instead to blueprint and the interface. And then name this BPI, so blueprint interface _ something. Imagine that you're building an interface to interact. So quick recap of an interface. An interface is a method of communication. So that way you can communicate with different classes from one actor to another actor without needing a reference to the class. Now, what do I mean with this? You will see in a second. So imagine that you wanted a universal approach to interact with anything. So we have created our interact blueprint interface, so we can create a new function. And this will be simply interact. This will be universal for anything. So I'm not gonna specify if it's interact to player or this. We're just gonna say interact, right? And that's it. So now what I can do is go to, for example, a new actor, and this will be a button, right? This will be a simple button that we want to interact with. So I go here, new button, and I go and place a cube, and I place a sphere. Okay, and this is my button. I'm gonna make a green button. Okay, perfect. So imagine that we wanted to interact with this button. Now, how you would do it is that you would go to the third person character, like this is what a noob would do. And it will go here and it will do, okay, when we press the E key, right, in our keyboard, this is not the E key, there we go, you will get, you would do like, you know, get overlapping actors, or easier, get a sphere trace, right, sphere trace by channel, right, we're doing a sphere trace. Imagine we received the hit, and then you would get the actor that you collected, which will be the button, and you would do like cast to button, and then you guys will go here and do interact. This is okay in many cases, and that's why I use it in many tutorials. But when you're trying to build a universal approach to speed up your development, you don't want to cast. What instead you want to do is go and check if this actor that we just hit it implements the interface that you just created. And this is basically like a check, like a true or false. So it will be like interact. So then if this is true, right, if this actor that we have just detected with the line trace has the interact interface, this means that it is an actor that we want to interact with, right, because we have that capability. So we can just go here and do interact, and this will be under our BPI interact. And as you can see, I didn't need to go ahead and cast to that specific button blueprint that I created here, because we're using an interface, so it doesn't matter what class this is in. Now, of course, nothing will happen yet, because in the button we haven't implemented our interface. So the next step will be to go into the button, and you will go to the class settings over here on the top, and then go to the interfaces and search for your interact and add it. And as you can see, it automatically added a new function. So we can just double click on this, go here, and it will be like print button. And now it will basically execute this, because as you can see, we are calling the interact, and the button does this when we receive the interact. So we can literally go ahead and test it. We can go ahead and press the button here. Now the only thing that I need to do is a quick sphere trace. So get actor location real quick. Let me just do this. Get forward vector. Get we just multiply this. Where's the multiply? So I'm now on Mac, and all the keys are different. So annoying. Just float 200, and just add this. Sorry, add this. There we go. So basic line trace calculation. You probably already know this. Just put this here as a radius, and just debug it. But anyway, so now when I go here and press play, maybe it lags a bit, guys. Don't worry if it lags, because I'm not doing anything. Anyway, in the button here, I press E. As you can see, we have a print that says button. Let me just spam it so you guys can see it. Button on the top left. It's working. We are interacting with the button. Obviously, we just have a print. In an actual game, you will have anything that you want, a sound and things like that. But you get me, like, we have communicated with this button without needing a reference to the class, which is exactly what we want. Perfect. All right, nice. So these are interfaces. Now with interfaces, you can do anything that you want. You can create multiple functions per interface. You can add inputs. So if you were to get an input, you would do it and all that stuff. And then on here, you would pass that input, and the button will receive it and will do something. You see, it's super modular. I do have an in-depth tutorial on how to get started with interfaces, so if you want to check that, that's on my YouTube channel. Perfect. So that's another way that we can do this. So let me know if everything is good, if it's lagging or the mic is bad. Let me know. Okay, cool. So let's get started and actually implement some functionality into our project. And this is how I go ahead and really start to make my projects, okay? And let's literally go through all the phase of generating a game that we want to do. We'll generate a concept art right now on the fly. We'll note 2 little things on Miro, and we'll execute them in Unreal Engine in 15 minutes. Yes, that's what we're gonna be doing, okay? So what game do we want to make? Let's see. Let me go ahead and create a Miro board and let's get started. And you're gonna be seeing exactly step by step what you have to do every time that you create a new project or begin a new game. And by the way, guys, everything that I'm explaining here, both in the ideation phase when I was in the slides and on here in Unreal Engine, you can use execute it even if you are right now making a game right now. You don't have to wait until you start a new project. Ideally, you do everything from the start, but if you are right now with your own game, you're already doing it, you can just go ahead and do this. Is Notion and Miro free? Yes, it is completely free. Of course, both of these apps have their own, paid version. They're the pro version of whatever, but you don't need them at all. They're more advanced. Even myself, I believe I'm not paying either both of them. So yeah. So let me show you how this works. So let me create a new board, and I will share this screen in 1 little second. So I'm gonna go ahead and change off screen. So let me go to Miro, share, boom. Okay, so let me know if everything changed correctly. And we are here. Let me check if the YouTube chat is also good. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay. Let me just also make this chat a bit. Okay. So this is Miro. As you can see, it's an infinite whiteboard where you can just add anything into it. Now, also, I do like a lot of Notion, like I mentioned before in the slides, but Miro is a bit more easy to get started, and I like it a lot. And actually, it's the only thing that I used for my previous game, the football game, which also I will show you a bit later more in depth how I, made everything about it. So anyway, so on here, we will go ahead and just drag a title and we will put the game that we want. Today, let's make a very simple game that we can execute in a very low amount of time. Obviously, we will not be making a complete game about it. We're just making like the MVP, the least things that we need for playable prototype, right? So over here, we can right on and just go and put like, platformer obstacle game. Okay, we'll go ahead and just make this bold. We'll just make it bigger, and that's our title, right? Then we can go ahead and just get a little shape. So for example, this shape, we can draw a big shape here. We can change the types here if you wanted. We can change the outline if you wanted to have an outline, and then you can change the fill image. But it's to be like just yellow, right? So then we can just start to put here like mechanics. And let's make this, actually let me change the background color because this color is not the best. There we go. And then we can just go here and start to write, all the mechanics that we could have. So we can just make a bullet point list, and we can just have like moving obstacle, player movement, jump, and launch pad, right? Imagine. And literally like that, you would just start to annotate everything that you wanted, right? And as you can see, I'm doing this very concise, and that's exactly what you can do. Obviously, I'm doing it a bit more than what you would usually do because I'm in the broadcast and I have to do things quick. But you have to be very concise and don't really like put a lot of effort into it. Like it's just basically the basic stuff, right? We will have then like imagine another thing which will be distribution, and this would literally just be okay. So it'll be through Steam. It will be a cheap product, $3.99. And obviously the price is a thing that you can leave a bit to the end, but you know, these are things that you also have to do market research on the game that you want to do if you are really trying to make like a successful game. If you're making just a game for fun, obviously you can skip a lot of that, but you know, pricing and all that stuff, ideally you should also come up from the start. We can note down some streamers, so we could put like case O, you know, imagine I show speed, we're aiming for him, and we're aiming for XQC and all that stuff. And actually, don't think that you're going too crazy if you're putting the biggest streamers in the world, because for example, I should speed and XQC got to play my football game that I showed you at the beginning of the slides, and we'll go a bit more in depth into that. Well, I should speed play another of my games, but XQC, for example, play that game precisely, right? So never go and don't think that you will not reach the streamers, because everything is in the ideation phase. If you make a game that they want to play, they will play. Okay, and of course you go a bit more in depth into it. But now what we need is to, you know, come up with, you know, for example, an image, right? So let me go ahead and open ChatGPT and let's make an image, right? So hopefully the window changed, and imagine. So, oh, I cannot click. Okay, there we go. I'm making a game about whatever this is, right? It could be like a platformer that you have to avoid moving obstacles in the least amount of time. It would be with basic shapes and a straight line. I will have a obstacle which is moving left and right, and then a launch pad. Create a reference image that from the POV of the player in third person, and then just add here, create image, and boom. Now obviously when creating AI images as a reference for the concept art of the game, it requires a lot of try and error, a lot of different models. Maybe instead of ChatGPT you try Midjourney, things like that, right? And then everything is about the prompting. So maybe I can word this in a different way, which will help the AI figure it out. But yeah, I mean, this is really what you need to get started. And also you can use a lot of ChatGPT to help you set up the macro. So you can put, okay, what mechanics could I have in this game? What distribution of things should I place here? You know, all this stuff. And also, like, you would probably have subcategories in mechanics, distribution, all this stuff, right? While this generates, another thing that is also super handy for the more technical stuff of your game would be, for example, over here, tools, assets, plugins, right? Obviously, for your game in Unreal Engine, you might use some fab assets to speed up workflow. Maybe it's not art, but maybe it's like just blueprints that you might buy or whatever. So you could go here and also put here everything that you need. Like, for example, imagine voxel plugin. You'll put the characters stylized pack and all, and then like online Steam subsystem to join stations. You know, like, you basically you start to write everything that you need down, and you can do this with the tools and the assets that you will use. And you can also go ahead and add a link. So that's what you should do. You should add a link to the fab asset or whatever that you're gonna be using. And yes, everyone uses assets, okay guys? Like, it's needed. You don't have to download a whole template on how to, like, a pre-made, you know, FPS game, but you can like use like the online Steam subsystem to join the sessions, a character stylized pack or things like that, right? Anyway, so this is still generating. Let's wait a bit more. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Miro is super cool, and I really recommend it. But you know, now when we start to add the images, we'll start to take a lot of shape. Also, one of the most important things, while the other thing generates, tasks. Now you can do this a bit more precisely with Notion because you can do it a bit better. You can put like deadlines and things like that, like on an actual grid, like a database. But if now you can just go and add a sticky note and do this. There's actually a template that you can add, which is, I don't remember the exact name, but there's also, look, if you search for Game Jam, you can see also a lot of stuff. Okay, here. This is what you want. Sprint planning. So a sprint is exactly what you're doing in Miro and Notion. A sprint, in other words, is essentially the tasks that you're required to do to get a version ongoing. This might be the MVP for the prototype, or this might be an update. So a sprint is basically the things that you have to do to get to a specific version. And on here you have everything that you want. So this could be things, I usually name it like this. So to do, then you will have here doing, and then done. You might have more categories, but this is the most basic. And you can go here and type a card. So it will be like, for example, set up player movement. Then you will have another note, which will be make main menu, right? And then on doing, you might have like obstacles, and then maybe like sounds. You're adding the sounds, and then done, it might be like the health system, right? And this is how you can start to have your sprint done. Everything that you will need over here with all the tasks, the ones that you're doing, and done. And then you can just drag them, as you can see, once you have completed them, or the other way around, or whatever, right? And it's super handy because you are on track. And if you're working in a team, even better, because each person has what they have to do. But even solo is very important. Okay, so, you know, okay. Yeah, so I didn't do like what I was thinking as, because I think it took the use basic shapes too literal, but it doesn't matter because it is our MVP and it's exactly what we want. As you can see, I mean, this looks kind of a mobile game, but it doesn't have to also be like a reference of the assets that you will use. It could literally be this, and this is what we want. We want a straight path, a moving obstacle, and checkpoints. So even concepts like this can be ideal. So for a game, we can just put this up, right? And then we'll start to add it into the project and all this stuff. There we go. You see, it is super cool. So yeah, you can kind of do this, and I could go and do another image, but you get my point. It's actually pretty cool. Anyway, so imagine that in Unreal Engine I want to get started. Let me change of screens. We will go and just get started. So the first thing that I might do, right, is the moving obstacle, right? So in Miro, I have this node which says make moving obstacle blueprint. So I would literally just go make a new actor, and this might be the BP underscore moving obstacle, right? I would go like here, and I will add like a cylinder, and then a sub cylinder. Let's make this a bit taller, and this one up, and this one a bit smaller. There we go. Right, and imagine this was like orange, and you like that. Okay, perfect. So this is our obstacle, right? As simple as that. So we can add the movement mechanics. So we can add this component, which is interpretive movement, and it will go from one place to another. We're gonna make this in a loop. Control point, control point. Now obviously I'm going fast because what I'm explaining in this session is not step by step how to make a moving obstacle blueprint, right? I'm explaining how to make a prototype. So you get me. I'm trying to cover everything that I need to do, but yeah, you get me. Okay, so and that's why I'm also not explaining this component, but it's very handy. So we can like put like 30. Okay. Yes, perfect. So I can maybe like put this here. Let me know if it also lags a lot, but yeah. And I have to delete this because I'm not using this anymore. And this also. Perfect. And there we go. So you can see it's moving, but we have to put it to be a bit faster in more places. Yeah, so as you can see now we start to actually have a moving obstacle, as you can see, right? So let's make it so that it goes a bit more of distance and it's a bit faster. And then we're gonna simply make sure that we have like a box collision, or we can just go here actually and do like a hit event. So on hit, we can just go ahead and imagine take damage to the actor. So now I would go here into the blueprint, and that will do an interface, and this will be like BPI underscore interact, and I want to do an interact, right? And then I could just go here and just do okay, interact. I want to call this event on the player when we hit it. So then on the player I can just go to class settings and add this over here, interact, double click, and here we go. And with that, what we can do is do like maybe like a jump, and imagine you would do like a camera shake or something, or even better, let me do like a quick ragdoll. Okay, so this is how you would do when the obstacle interacts with the player. On the player would activate ragdoll, which is how they would simulate. And then you just need to do one quick thing over here, custom enabled, and then in here disable movement. Okay, perfect. Here we go. So now, as you can see, when I go here and he hits me, I ragdoll and I die. Working, right? Super fast. So this is exactly what we want to do when making our game. We want to do things in a modular way, which is fast. And now any obstacle that has the interface will just deal damage to me. So yeah, I mentioned that I wanted to change this a bit. I could just rotate it 90 degrees. Right, I could maybe just go ahead and delete the walls here. I could just bring these walls closer. Well, first this one's. Right, so I'm going fast over here. But this is what I would do if I was making an MVP prototype. Let's put this here. This is starting point. Okay. And of course, thing has to be 180. Yes, it's working. Obviously it has to be a bit more. But yeah, another thing that I can do real quick is add a destination, and that way it can be super precise. So if I can go here, I can click this eye icon and I can show the 3D widget. And then over here I can just go to the begin play and add a how is it called, a control point. Here we go. It'll be this one, and then here I can delete this other one. Okay, and then on here, as you can see, I have this 3D widget, and I can assign a specific destination. And in this case, oh my god, the keyboard is so crazy. I can just go here, and now we'll go exactly where I want to go. Hopefully Unreal Engine didn't just crash. I'm using a Mac. Okay, perfect, didn't crash. Yeah, perfect. So I can go here, I can run, and if it hits me, I ragdoll to the ground. As you can see, it will be like working. So I can just duplicate this. I could like rotate this 180 degrees. Put this here. And slowly like make a game out of this. you know, and then I can maybe make another launchpad, right? So I would go here, BP launchpad. I could go here, make a sphere, another sphere, put this to be like this, and I can add a box collision or a sphere collision, and go here, and then on begin overlap, I would do the I would just do like an interact, right? And then the player would ragdoll. Can go here, make it twice as big. As you can see, we start to have that obstacle course that we wanted, and we die. And we are always referencing the concept image. So I can go to Miro. You can see our concept image. We have a straight path, the moving platforms. Well, let's go back to Unreal Engine. And as you can see, we're getting there. We have the player, the moving platforms, and just like this. There we go. So obviously this is the bare bones of everything, but that's what you want to do with prototypes, because in what, 15 minutes we made this. And then of course you can go into Fab, download an actual like obstacle 3D mesh and just replace it. Then you can add sounds, then you can do this and that and that, and slowly you build everything. And the best thing is to just make sure to have everything on Miro. So on here I would put obstacles on done, this on to do, health system on done because we ragdoll, and player movement done. As you can see, we start to advance, and that's how we do it. And you put obviously 20 times as much things on here. You would do 20 reference images and just get it going. And this is exactly what you want to do. So that's how you really can go ahead and start to get good in prototyping with Unreal Engine. And it's exactly what we want to do. So let me now go back to the slides. And let me know if you guys can see the slides. Let me double check. Okay, perfect. Now, guys, what if I told you that instead of building this yourself, so everything that I do, like the health system, the obstacles, all that things, whenever you want to create a sprite, right, for a lot of the genres out there, you know, why not give you more than 200 systems so that you can even skip all of this as well? Literally. That's right. That was what you just heard. What if I gave you the tools so that you can just execute and skip everything that we have done? You don't have to create a health system in your life. Well, you see, over this past 3 years, I've created over 200 systems that I use daily. These are ranging from health systems to enemy AIs to just everything out there that you could do to build games, right? And I use this daily. But not only that, but I've used these exact systems that I've built to make viral games that the biggest streamers in the world have played. As you can see, this is iShowSpeed, one of the biggest influencers in the whole world. He has over 40 million followers, and he's playing one of my games that I did. As you can see, by Gorka Games, you can see his live stream. He's playing my game. Not only that, you can see XQC, also one of the biggest gamers in the world. So over 12 million followers. He's playing the football game that I showed you at the beginning of the slides. And you can see this El Rubius, right? He's one of the biggest influencers in YouTube history. He has like over 50 million followers. He's from Spain like me as well. And you can see that these systems have been implemented to these viral games that have had millions of views. As you can see, literally just like that. And you know, we can say that these systems are very effective, as you can see, right? They work. So I would even go to say that they're the most effective in the whole Unreal Engine community out there. I've never seen these systems being implemented like this before. So that's why I'm going to be giving you access to these 200 assets so that you can just import them and migrate them like that into your own projects in seconds. This insane asset library contains building systems, survival mechanics, UIs and menus, camera and movements, VFX and particles, audio meta sounds, environments and PCGs, AI and combat systems, interactions and gameplay mechanics, multiplayer, mags and sequences, microphones, face reactions, inventories, currencies, loot systems, gameplay utilities, motion matching and animations, materials and renders, full complete projects, and much more. Private chats, ebooks, everything that you will need to just build a game through my Unreal Club. But the best thing is that you can get all of this for literally a steal of a price. Through my Unreal Club, for only $29 a month, you can get over 200 assets. That's it. $29, and you get this insane library of 200 assets that you can just add into your existing games. I mean, looking fab, is there any other asset or bundle or library that contains over 200 systems for $29? I don't think so. Search it up. Search it up. So the link is in the chat. Let me go ahead and give this to you guys, because you can go ahead and check it out right now, and that's how you can start to make games even faster. So the links is in the chat. You can check it out. You will see that there's that huge library of everything that you want. If you're looking for a specific thing, you will find it. And if not, it's also a good idea to maybe just get it and save it, whatever you want, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to share today. But there's a bit more. There's more. In the mentorship tier, I will go ahead and personally guide you and make sure that you advance at a different level to get your games out there through a one-to-one meeting per month. And I can help you exactly with what you're working on. But here's a bonus for all of you guys that are right now in the webinar today. Everyone that joins today to any tier, it doesn't matter if it's the Unreal Club Pro, where you have all the 200 assets, or the mentorship. Everyone that joins today will have access to a meeting with me in a group where you will be able to activate your mics and just talk, like ask any questions, whatever you want, share your price and everything. The link again is on the chat, so check this out right now if you really want to make games. And I'm not trying to like persuade you in any crazy ways or whatever. I'm just right now letting you know what's inside the club and how you can benefit from it, because those exact assets or systems that you can download over there are the ones that I use every single day and that have enabled me to make viral games out there. So if you want to try it out, go ahead. If not, totally okay. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. That's how you can go ahead and start to go from an idea into a playable prototype in literally 2 seconds. So if you want to learn more, check out my Patreon, my Unreal Club. And if you're interested in just making more tutorials, stay up to date in my YouTube channel. I'll be uploading more insane stuff over there. And also join my Discord, where you will be able to participate in a lot of cool conversations with a lot of game devs around the world, and also be in touch with the latest of the latest. So yeah, guys, let me know if you have any other questions, and let's just begin with the Q&A. So you can put questions both in Zoom and YouTube, mainly in Zoom, it'll be better. So let me know. And yeah, thanks everyone that's joining today and trying to learn Unreal Engine to do everything that you guys want. So yeah, so basically if you are subscribed on the club, you will have access to those 200 assets while you are subscribed. But if you got to download a lot of them while you were subscribed, obviously you can use them if you stop the subscription, right? You have them forever if you manage to get them, right? So that's the thing, literally forever, just $29. And that's it. Where can I learn Houdini? Well, I think there's a lot of YouTube online tutorials for that. Overall, you know, if you want to learn Houdini, there's not really a channel that I would know on top of my head, but maybe it's a thing that will come in the channel, you know? Houdini is quite cool. How do you come up with ideas? It's basically a combination of, you know, just looking what's out there, what's working, and ChatGPT. Let's be honest. If you see a game that is working out there, just ask ChatGPT for ideas to revamp it, and that's it. In my case, for example, the football game, I didn't use ChatGPT for idea. I just thought, okay, there's this game Only Up, which is viral, which you climb an obstacle path in the sky. What if I add football, basic soccer, you know, into that game? And it worked. And then I used ChatGPT to specifically add obstacles or whatever. But yeah, like that's the thing. It's this thing. Yeah, so the YouTube mentorship also has access to this, but I recommend to do it through Patreon because you have more access to things. How long does it take you to turn the prototype into the complete game? It depends. It could, you know, range from 3 weeks to 2 months. Like I could do it super fast, you know, especially if you have more team members on the team. But you know, if you are like starting out, in 2 months, that will be more than enough time. How do you spread your game to different people? Well, like I said, the streamers are the ultimate marketing tool. Now, how do you actually reach the streamers, right? That's like the one of the minimum question. Just literally post online. X, you know, Twitter is one of the best things. That's how I actually got all the streamers to play, through X. Just post a trailer. The post has to be in a way where it's like not a promotion. It has to be in a way where it's like you're just sharing your game, and people through the trailer and the description of your post we're gonna like it, and it goes kind of viral. And that's how you reach the streamer. So posting TikToks, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and X, Twitter tweets, basically. That's how you do it. And then through YouTube also, right? But for example, through my YouTube, I cannot really do it because my audience are game devs, right? They're not the gamers that will play the game, so it's a bit different. You have to think that stuff. Can we use them in game if we make profit? Of course, you can go ahead and use all the assets that are available in Unreal Club in your game right now, to make profit and everything. There's no license or whatever. The only thing that you must not do is share those assets with other game devs if they're not in the Unreal Club, if that makes sense, right? But you can use them for your games if you make profit and everything. Can you make tutorial on fighting game? That might be honestly upcoming. That would be cool. Absolutely, that's a good idea. Why did you switch from PC to Mac? Are you finding Mac better or worse? Well, I switched to Mac because I am now I moved from Spain to California, and it's what I'm having right now. It's like a laptop, and honestly, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, it has like the M4 chip, so for Unreal Engine, it's working pretty good. There's only one thing, which is if you open up environments that are big, a lot of nanite and things like that, it starts to lag. But everything is super smooth and it opens super fast. I honestly recommend it if you get one of the latest chips. But Windows is always better, honestly. Let's be real. For Unreal Engine. Speaking about content creators, how would you recommend getting in contact with big streamers if a game developer doesn't have as much exposure as you? Well, the thing is that you don't need exposure to make the viral tweets or TikToks or whatever. Nowadays, the algorithms are made so that if a post is gonna do well, it's gonna have the same reach as if you had 1 million subscribers or 2. You know what I'm saying? So you don't need, you know, to have big following to do so. Obviously, it helps, especially with YouTube and things like that. But always, what I recommend is just to upload TikToks and X. But if not, always, you know, send them a DM, send them a message, send them a email. that still works, right? So try it out. Obviously, it's a bit harder to do so than getting a viral tweet that then the streamers see and then play. But you can still do it. Just the phrasing has to be very important. You know how you word the email, how you put the trailer, and always give them a free Steam key. Always, right? It's like, even if the game is free, give them the key. Like, it's just like easier for them to actually download it, right? So yeah, what would a typical workflow for optimizing performance before streaming look like? I would say that it's just from the start. Make sure that the assets that you import are in a decent topology. They don't go so crazy. Use the latest tools like Lumen and Nanite. Please use them. They're there to make the lives easier. If you know how to use them, just add a settings menu on the main menu, so people with lower hardware can just lower the graphic settings and play. That's what I did with my one. And literally, I mean, we could be here 1 hour talking about optimization, but the most sensational thing is just like use Nanite, use world partition, have a big level, don't have everything loaded in memory, load one thing at a time, don't have so much like hair with physics in your game if you have like an advanced game, things like that. I've had many times where I want to make a game, but I never can think of an idea, and if I have to, I always aim too high, out of my reach, or end up using mixed tutorials, and the whole workflow is messed up in the end. What will be the best or easiest game idea to start with? Well, the best game ideas that you can begin with are always the ones that don't require you to put a lot of crazy resources into it. Stay away from multiplayer, stay away from crazy open worlds. Just make a game based on one mechanic. You can see my football game, right? The mechanic was literally walking and moving a ball with physics through obstacles. I built a whole game around it. So if you can do the same but with a different theme, that's it. So you always have to have that in mind. In the Unreal Pro Club, do you have a system that lets you have high demanding assets and a lot of so you mean like optimizing? There's not really a tool that optimizes like your whole project right now, but that's a thing that it depends more on your side of things. It depends on how you have everything built up. It depends on your content browser, how organized it is. It depends on how many models you're using. Like, it really depends on your case. So there's nothing universal that we can use right now for that. Maybe AI. How much do the streamers cost if you can't catch their attention organically? Honestly, I don't really know, because I haven't done a paid promotion with a streamer. All the promotions that have occurred have been organically. They have just played the game, but it kind of depends. Probably the medium will be like 1K probably, but if you're reaching to like actual speed or XQC, I guess that number will pretty much increase. Probably like XQC, which he has like 12 million followers and like 40K live viewers, it will probably cost you like minimum of the minimum 10K for one stream. So I don't know, but if you get people like of 20K subscribers or followers that have like 800 viewers, that would probably be like $200, But always try to do it for free. Just give them the key. Like, if you try to make a game that those streamers will want to play, they will play for free 100%, because it's their content. You're literally giving them content, that you're saving them work. If you have an error with Blueprint, you don't know where to start looking, how do you get help? Well, you can use my AI Copilot, which is also included in the Unreal Club. It's trained through my 800 tutorials and the Unreal Engine documentation, so you can put a screenshot, describe it, and it will do the best attempt to try to help you solve that problem. But just try to search on forums. Forums are the best thing ever. Do you need to credit AI if the game was published? Not really. I mean, depends on what type of AI you're using. If you're using AI references, you don't need to credit at all. If you're using ChatGPT to help you like build mechanics, obviously not. Even if you're using ChatGPT to make you like the story of the game, doesn't matter. Even if you use AI to make 3D models, you check the license and you probably don't need to credit. So you're good, honest. Now AIs, man, you don't need to credit. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Welcome to the USA. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Honestly, the Discord is so cool. You saw it. It's a good place to connect with other game devs. Thank you. Yeah, it's really amazing. I really recommend if you guys join the Discord because you can network. You can find peers to do games with. There's a lot of people that have literally built games from the Discord server because they have basically assembled a team. They found a designer, they found a coder. Let's work together. So that's a great way to do so, and there's a specific channel on, doing that. So that's pretty good. Are we going to get a tutorial on how to use the new chaos water physics? Yeah, that could be a great idea. So definitely, there's always down to that stuff. If you have to use AI to generate models, game art, and all that stuff, you have to credit AI. No, I mean, again, depends on the license, depends on the specific tool. On top of my head, I don't know. Usually not. Okay, usually just check the license. Not ChatGPT and all of these ones. No. For 3D models, just check the license, but usually not. Okay, let me see. Have you ever thought of building your own game franchise? I mean, kind of course, but mainly I think the best thing to focus on right now for me is like on games that I can do quickly and they're like more on a viral, idea. It's like easier for me to build. As a game developer, what do you consider the best game ever created and why? I have no idea, man. Depends on what you like and all that stuff. I guess one of the best games ever created in the latest decade will be Fortnite, Roblox, and Minecraft. And I'm not saying because I play them daily or things like that. I'm saying them because as a distribution perspective, those games have been printing money since day one. And not only that, but they have switched to a workflow where the players create the content. So for example, in Roblox or Fortnite, the people create the maps and that's it, right? So literally, it's so crazy. That's another thing that you can try. Not only build games in Unreal, but join into those services. It's pretty cool. I'm making a game for free. I don't care. I just want people to enjoy it. That's the thing, and that's super clever because if the game is free and you're not really like an established brand, it's basically a way to grow your personal brand of a studio of making games, right? With the least amount of friction possible, right? Obviously, you would be missing a lot of potential revenue in the table to make bigger games in the future. But if you just want to expand, making free games is a great approach. So that's the thing. For music, usually you just get an artist or you just find a library that lets you license it. It depends. How should I get models that suit me, and or how to learn game the 3D modeling? We're gonna learn 3D modeling. Blender is the best place. I would follow Blender Guru, things like that. He has the donut series, the famous one. That's the best way to learn them. But if you wanna find 3D models, Fab is the best place, or AI 3D models now are getting pretty good, or get a designer. But maybe not hire him, but collab with him. Team up, 50-50 split. You know what I'm saying? It's a great way. It's a very underrated way, honestly. How do you get your armor to fit the hero exactly? Well, when adding like clothing into characters, the best place is to do with like metahumans or custom do it. Because if you get like an armor pack from one place and then a character from another place and you join it, it will probably not match the proportions, and then when the animations are running, it will look very bad. So it's up to you. You just have to custom adjust it, honestly. There's some tools now to make the lives easier, but yeah. This is more of a personal question, but at what point do you feel satisfied with how an asset or system is looking, performing, so you can move on into the rest of the project? So you don't fall into a rabbit hole. Really good question. Actually, I wanted to touch that. So it's really up to you as a developer, but you really have to avoid being a perfectionist and just like get things going, man. Like that's the way that it is. If the ragdoll system, when you slam into the obstacle, is looking decent, that's it. Move on. You know, you can always update it a bit later. But there's like a certain checklist that you should have of things like looking good. For example, for the slamming into the obstacle that we did before, so you ragdoll, you die, right? Like basic stuff, right? First of all, the ragdoll physics, then a sound, then like a blood splatter, and that's it. Like if it looks decent, that's good, and you have just to know where to continue and just get feedback from people. And the best thing is just to make a game that requires not a lot of crazy attention to detail. That's the best way just to move on. But very good question, very good question. How would you approach narrative when making games? Make it simple for you. So like for a story, you mean to make it like a story game? I guess ChatGPT is the best place if you're not really like a story person. That's how I would do it, or just team up with a story narrative person that is really clever and knows how to do stories, and work together. Join into Pro Club. Let's go. Yeah, like, let's go. Is it a good idea to just try to make a lot of games rather than just put all your time and effort in one game? Absolutely, exactly, 100%. This is what I always say, because I have a lot of people like you guys that are on my Discord, and they basically share the game that they're making, and they tell me that they're 1 year into development on their first game, and I'm like, bro, what? You 1 year making your first game? Okay, like, there's one advantage to that, is that you will actually learn a lot about game development and Unreal Engine, but the disadvantage is that that game will not sell. That game will not do good. That game is not what you want to focus on. What you want to do is focus on fast, short games that you can do quickly. That's the thing. Take, for example, the soccer football game that I made. It took me like 2 months to make. I could even have done it quicker if I didn't have like the whole judo thing going, but super fast to execute, and then you can move on into the next project. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because you didn't put a lot of effort into it. And good, because you still learned about the development, and you can apply those skills into your next project. But never spend like 2 years on a game unless you are like in a big team or organization, or you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like it's just a very good question. Very good question. Do you have a save system in your 200 assets? Yes, sir. So there's a couple of save systems in that. There's an individual asset that you can just add into your project to save the system. And then there's also a big one in the RPG series. So in the RPG project files, there's a big save system that you can just copy into your game. How to afford to upload a game on Steam or make sure it makes its money back? Well, basically, to upload a game on Steam, you just need $100, so it's very easy. And then if you're talking about like how to make sure that it's profitable, it all depends on the initial ideation phase. That's why I emphasize it so much. It's important that the idea of the game is going to sell. Rather, it's very viral, like my football game, or it's very niche and it's specific to a target audience, so it's easy to sell. Like, everything is on the ideation phase when you get to sell the game. Then obviously the game has to be fun and has to look good, professional, and all this stuff, right? But 17% of that, 70, is from the ideation phase. So that's what it is. What are your thoughts on people who don't like AI generated content? But we have to say that we use AI generated things in our game. So the thing is that, yeah, there's a lot of people that don't like using AI in their games, and that's okay. In my opinion, and an opinion of the people that I work with, I've basically worked with people that have made games that have made hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're my friends, and they tell me that AI is the ultimate way to go when basically making games, because it saves you so much time that is crazy. Like, you can do reference images. It can help you organize your tasks. You can do 3D models if you don't know how to 3D model and you are good just in blueprints. Like, it is so good. It gives you an advantage that is so crazy. So honestly, like, you have to use AI, guys. You have to use AI. So what it is, you have to adapt. And not these other developers will get through you, because they're gonna be making prototypes in an hour and you're gonna be a week into it and spending money on hiring 5 assets when you can just make it with AI. It's a balance. You don't have to use AI. I always say this. You don't have to use AI as a robot that will do everything for you. You have to use AI as a co-pilot, which will assist you when making the games. Do your 200 assets work in Unreal Engine 5.6? Yes, probably 99% of them will. Obviously, I have been 2-3 years making the assets, right? So there's assets that are a bit more older, assets that are a bit more newer, but all of them are 99% compatible with Unreal Engine 5.6 if you just import them into your project 100%. Because they're done also like in a modular way where they're not specific tied into a version. It's like all my tutorials also work nowadays. That's why. How do you come up with these viral ideas? It's kind of what I said. You just have to do some market research, see what's working. For example, if you see a game that every streamer is playing and it's viral, like Peak. I don't know if you know the game Peak. That got super viral. Just take inspiration from that, brainstorm ideas with ChatGPT, so good, and you'll have like a viral mechanic going on. Like use like it kind of depends on how of an ideation guy you are, a visual person. But if you like take reference from a viral game and add like a twist, that's it. So that's really the best thing you can do. Like, really. In the 200 plus asset pack, are they easy to adjust code? So I can just it's quite easy. They're built like in a modular way where you can just add them into your project, and they will have their own independent assets. You can just join them with what you want. You can change the values. Like, they're made so that it's easy for you to like add them into your game. Absolutely, that's the way to go. Are GDDs still relevant? I've been told yes and no, so can I get some clarity? Good question. So for the people that know, GDDs are a document that outlines everything about your game. And you know what, Alfred? What I explained at the beginning of the ideation phase, when you create the Notion and Miro and note everything down, that's also part of a GDD. So yeah, they're still relevant. They're still very important. You 100% must do them. But I don't call them GDD. I just call them my Miro board or my Trello, and I have everything on that. I have my tasks that I have to do and everything about the game. So I don't know if you were at the beginning of the webinar, but yeah, the GDDs are super important. That's a way to call them. I call them just the ideation phase, basically. Are devlogs good forms of marketing for your game? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know how I forgot about this. So devlogs is another way to basically do good marketing. The only thing with devlogs is that depending on how you edit them and you make them, it might target more game developers than gamers. And if you target game developers with the devlogs, you'll probably not sell as much or have so many downloads, because obviously the audience is not the ones that are gonna play the game. But if you do the, if you guys know Danny, so he makes viral videos on YouTube, and he basically does devlogs but in an entertainment way. So the target is gamers and they play the game. Super genius. So yeah, it's so super cool. Apart from doing devlogs, do TikToks, do shorts, and do X posts, Twitter. Super important. Do you think using blueprints is enough for a game that doesn't run a crazy amount of operations? At what point would C++ have to come in? Man, you know what? Never. At this point, with Unreal Engine 5, you can build complete crazy games with blueprints. That myth of blueprints is worse than C++ is pretty much busted at this point. so many AAA studios have used blueprints across the whole game. You don't even imagine. So the only thing with C++ is if you're building like a crazy procedural system, that you're gonna spawn like 20 billion assets and you need like a thread type of thing. But with blueprints, they're like gonna implement thread systems into them, so they're faster. So honestly, that myth that C++ is more performant, like it's technically true, but we're talking about a difference that is not noticeable. Like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. If you want to learn C++, it's cool too. It's like more pro. I know some of it because I spent a lot of years with Unity learning C#, but it's not worth it. Just go with blueprints, man, especially with the prototype phase. When do we start working for game jams? Any idea? Man, as soon as you start learning Unreal and you know how to do a couple things, sign up to all the game jams if you have time. It is the best way to like, learn. Because it's almost like doing a game, but in the shortest amount of time possible, so you don't waste time. You learn so much, and then you meet so much people because you can join in a team, right? Man, join every game jam that you see, honestly. I recommend. That's what I did. That's what a lot of people do. Join every single game jam that you see. And if you don't know what a game jam is, it's just like a challenge where you have to build a game like in a week, and then it's like there's winners who made the coolest game and things like that, right? And you can join teams and meet people, and then those people that you meet, you can use them for later in life if you do like an actual game, I literally downloaded the free 500 animations UFN I implement to my Unreal Pride, so they got free locomotion. Exactly, man. Like, there's so many things out there to make your life easier. I got the pro package. If I need a one-on-one with you, you offer that separate just to help. Yeah, so that's offered in my mentorship tier, which is the next one, and that's how you get one-on-ones with me. If you wanna like jump into a call and talk about your specific project, get guidance, help, and all that stuff. But like I said, if you join today, you're gonna be all available to get into a meeting with me like in a week. I will schedule it very soon, in a group, of course, to talk a bit more precisely on what you need as a bonus, right? For making games that streamers want, should you target the relatively easy but chaotic fun ideas? Yes, absolutely. Like, it depends. You have to do your market research, but look at the games for like Peak, Only Up, Chained Together. All those viral games are the inspiration of my football soccer game that I showed you before. Those games got viral. I did the same with a twist. It also went viral. You just have to look at what it works and get like a good twist of an idea. So yeah, like the easy, chaotic, fun ideas are usually the ones that go viral. But it depends. Maybe you're targeting more a niche game and you don't want to go so viral. You just need to like go viral in a niche, so it's not really going viral. It's like targeting a specific niche, and maybe that's like you don't have to go so crazy with streamers. It can be a bit easier. Should we use AI to make blueprints? At which level? As I learned from tutorials mostly. Yes. I mean, yes and no. Like I think it's fundamental you to learn blueprints and get good at them 100%. But there's a point where you can start to automate with AI once you know what you're doing. Absolutely, there's some plugins that are coming out that build AI blueprints, and I have actually a buddy that is working on one, which is going to be amazing. He showed me that it was crazy. I personally haven't played around with them so much, but I will begin so. But still, make sure that you learn blueprints. Are you going to Unreal Fest 2026? 100%, of course. I went to the one this year and it was amazing, so I'll definitely be for the next one if the timing is good, right? So you guys go, let me know, we can meet there. AI is made at blueprints. Yeah, I mean, depends on the AI model and all this stuff. Like there's a couple of them out there, so depends. But they're getting good at it, so in no time it will be perfect. So yeah, guys, let me know if you have any last minute questions, but that's it for today's broadcast pretty much. If you got something out of it, let me know. I would really appreciate it if you learned something today, both from the slides or the real live in that we did and everything. Like I said, if you are interested in going ahead and just getting into the Unreal Club, let me know. The links is in the chat. I will share it again. You can basically get literally the 200 assets to speed up your game development, and I recommend it so much. So thank you guys for joining today. Hope you guys had an amazing day, and see you soon if you joined in our next section, right, for the bonus with meeting. And if not, we'll see you guys in the next broadcast. I will be doing more of this very soon. So thank you everyone that has joined today, and see you soon. Keep building amazing games inside of Unreal Engine. Thank you guys.